Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Back in 2006, 2007, I was working on my first book. Foundational Networking was the title, is the title, not was the title, it is the title. And as it was, going through and, writing a book is like half the battle, and then all the edits and planning how it's going to look and be laid out is the other half of the battle. So as I'm going through this, figuring out, okay, how do I get this thing sold, which is the whole reason for writing a book, right? I'm just doing what I do. I network. Who knows who? And one name kept coming up over and over and over again. Ken Lazar. You need to talk to Ken Lazar, Scioto Ridge Job Networking Group. Now, 2007, 2008, we're in the height of the of what I'll call the financial meltdown in this country. And most people are aware of it. Most people live through it. And Ken, who's my guest here today, he had put together this help group. It was a weekly group where people came in, dozens. When I showed up, there's over 100 people here. Everybody with a similar story, but a different story, but the same theme. They didn't have a job. Right. And there was just a lot of people being let go. Ken did an awesome job. I teased Ken. I said, you put yourself out of a job. It was volunteer anyways, but he put himself out of a job because most people found work. So Ken, welcome to the program. You've got quite an existence, professional recruiter, career advisor. You're in a rock band. What don't you do?
Yeah. Well, a pleasure to be here, Frank. And I know we've known each other for years since we were doing Scioto Ridge, and you were writing your books and you were doing networking. But this is great. I appreciate being on the podcast. And we did some great things back then. The times were tough. Everybody was out of work. It seems like it was crazy. And what was interesting is back then, networking, it wasn't really well known. It really wasn't something that a lot of people did, and they didn't know how, and they didn't know where. So I think you and I did a lot of good things to put networking in people's heads to get what they wanted to do, which was find a job. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I guess let's go back a little bit in time. You started with, well, I guess your whole career, but you were with Kelly Services. Is that?
Yeah.
Did I have that?
At the time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with Kelly Services, which is temporary staffing. They've been around for years and years and years, and I was putting temporary people to work.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that because I was in the staffing business, and there's always room for people to work in temporary, I thought, well, maybe there's some people that are out of work that need help. And so I went to our church, Scioto Ridge United Methodist Church, and I asked the pastor, Pastor Giffen, I says, do you have some people that are out of work? And he says, yeah, we have some people that are out of work. So I said, well, can I help them? And he says, well, sure. So he gave me a Sunday school room once a week, and I would bring in a speaker, and we started with 8 people in the group. And we met, and so word got around.
Yeah.
And the economy, and the economy went south. And so instead of 8 people in the room, we'd have 10 people, and then 20 people, and then 50 people, and then we were out of the Sunday school room. We would in the congregation room. And in the height of the recession, there was probably about 150 people in the room that were all out of work, that were looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And then other churches in the city came, and we said, we have people out of work at our church. So we opened up chapters in the churches in the evening So we were probably there I think at the height that we were in 7 churches in the
Yeah.
evening in Columbus, where we were putting people to work for the sheer purpose of showing them how to network and talk to people that could hire them. And the other thing, there's a lot of support when you come to a meeting like that. And it was in churches, and there was a spiritual part of it, but it wasn't, it was in the background.
Yeah.
It was just very subtle. And so we did some good. We put a lot of people to work, Frank, and you were
No, you
part of that.
did. Well, the thing you touched on briefly there, which I think was probably the hidden gem in it all, is that when when you're out of work, well, I mean, I've never been out of work like that, but I went self-employed and I didn't have any clients to begin with. That was lonely. That was
I
lonely,
know.
right?
Yeah,
It's 2 in the afternoon and you've called everybody. This is pre-LinkedIn. There just wasn't a lot you could do. And it's just like, okay, I'm sitting twiddling my thumbs.
yeah,
Phone, please ring. There's no email at that point, no websites or anything. And so I think the power of what you did was bringing people together. And while a lot of people did get work, um, a lot of people got hope. And I
yeah,
think that was the real powerful thing there because it's a depressing time.
yeah. It's a depressing time, and a lot of people. There's a social aspect to work.
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah.
just occupational, but there's a social aspect, and we kind of took that on ourselves to be the social aspect that is missing when you find your job. But what was kind of cool about the whole thing is people realized they just didn't have to meet once a week. I
Yeah.
mean, there were coffee groups. There were little other groups that would meet, maybe 6 or 7 people, and so that they were meeting all the time and supporting one another. And I think we had a couple of marriages too, Frank. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I think we
Yeah.
had that. That was kind of some cool things. So yeah, it was the best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah. Well, it's national calamities like that, 9/11, the
Oh
meltdown,
yeah.
it brings out the best in humanity. It really does. It's you know, it, I what I learned from that experience, because we can kind of get talking about networking here, um, is that when I talk to people who are trying to get started in their careers or people who are in transition or thinking about being in transition, I tell them the best people to connect with are other people who are in transition.
Yeah.
Because if you're a marketing person or a salesperson, you work with a lot of salespeople, um, you're going to, Murphy's Law is you're going to walk into a company and they're going to be like, yeah, we don't need any salespeople. We're looking for engineers. Well,
Yeah.
what's happening with the engineer? He's getting the exact opposite, or he or she's getting, well, we're not looking for engineers. We're looking for salespeople. And so if those two people get together over coffee and just kind of compare notes, have saw this, you're never finding what you're looking for. You're always finding things for other that relate to other people. And if you start comparing notes, it's like we can help each other. That was the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about Scioto Ridge, or just really networking in general um, with respect to career transition.
Yeah. And the first law of networking, of course, is give first.
Yep.
And so if you give, people will give to you. The thing we found out, Frank, I think you appreciate this, is everybody's new at networking. I mean,
Yeah.
we just a lot of trial and error stuff, but we found out uh, if you're looking for a job, the more specific you could be about what you wanted, the easier it was for people to help you.
Yeah.
So if you would just go to a person and say, "Well, do you know anybody who's hiring?" It's not easy for people to help you when you say that. If you say, I'm really looking for an engineering position, I know that the hiring manager at XYZ company is Fred, whatever. Do you know anybody that knows him? Those are the networking, the people that approach networking that way, they're the most successful.
Yeah.
And so just that's I never I have one guy haven't seen him in a while. He was out of work about every 3 years. And he'd come to me with an Excel spreadsheet. And he'd say, and he says, Ken, I need 15 minutes of your time. So he'd come and we'd have a cup of coffee. He says, there's a spreadsheet. Here's the companies I want to work for. Here's who I think that is in the company that can hire me. Who do you know?
Yeah.
And I would go, well, I know this guy, this guy, this guy. And he says, that's enough. That's all I need. If you need those three people, I really appreciate your help. It was easy to help him.
Yeah.
Very easy to help him.
Well,
So
and he made it easy for you. I think that's,
yeah, yeah.
I think a lot
So
of people get, well, I'm sorry to interrupt. A lot of people in networking, I'm sure you experience this because you were kind of like this, um, you were held in very high esteem, right? And
well, it's nice of you
people,
to say that.
well, I mean, again, I heard your name all the time. You got to meet Ken. You got to meet Ken. And I had no idea Scioto Ridge was associated with the church until I showed up. I just thought, okay, this is kind of
Yeah,
a cool name.
yeah,
Um, but I'm sure a lot of people came to you and said, "Hey, Ken, oh, woe is me, solve my problems." It's like,
yeah.
ah, that's a heavy burden, you know?
It is. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. But I would refer them back to the group.
Yeah,
The group will solve your problems.
yeah,
Network with the people that are in the room. I would help a lot. I mean, I put a lot of people in temporary positions until they found, permanent positions. I never forget one guy. Uh, he said, "I'll take anything, temporary." I says, "Okay." So I put him at Chase Bank, and he was doing like, hourly stuff. He loved it. 4 years later, he was a vice president.
oh my
And
God,
so just like that, because he had capable of doing that. But he started where he needed to start in order to get where he wanted to go. And there
yeah,
were a lot of people that took a step back to take a step forward, and they did, and they were very successful. But I will tell you one thing, and I've used this a lot. Job loss is 100% curable.
yeah,
Every person found a job, and that was really rewarding.
yeah. Well, again, you put yourself out of a job. I mean, you didn't really because you kind of pivoted from there to Ability Professional,
Yeah,
which was your recruiting firm, is your recruiting firm. Very successful. And you've kind of continued on with the Scioto Ridge playbook with your Tuesday tune-up, which another national calamity. COVID helped tremendously because all of a sudden it's online.
yeah, yeah. It was. We went from meeting in person on Tuesday mornings to we couldn't anymore,
Yeah,
and so we met via Zoom. And I didn't know anything about Zoom. Nobody knew anything about Zoom,
yeah,
and it just kept the group going. And the group has almost 20 years. This Tuesday Tune-Up was part of Scioto Ridge. Yeah, but another thing, Frank, I got to put this up is that when you give, uh, you may not immediately get a reward, and nor should you be looking for a reward. So when I decided to start my own business, um, I said I'm gonna put my shingle out. I'm gonna start my own business, and all these people that I helped me.
yeah.
It was really cool, really cool.
And I'm willing to bet there was no expectation. They were chomping at the bit to,
Well, yeah, you need a website. Let me build you a website. You need a logo. Let me put you a logo. Do you need business cards? I'll get you business cards. All those things, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm in business
yeah,
because people help me when I help them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's amazing how that, again, it's humanity at its finest, really.
it is. It is. So I continue to tell people. Well, and now I am a consultant with Challenger Grain Christmas. They are a outplacement firm.
Okay,
Corporations hire them to when they let go of executives. The company buys a program for them, and we help them find new jobs. And I've been working with them for about a year, and it's still networking. We get your resume, we get your LinkedIn profile, but you go back to your network, and that's where you're going to find your jobs. Talk to your friends,
Yeah.
talk to your people, and that is it's still the same process. Is to And we talked about this. We talked about the Granovetter study, Frank, in where they did a study on how people found jobs.
Yep.
And there are strong ties and there are weak ties. And the strong ties are the people in your network that you know. You eat dinner with them. They're your neighbors. You go to church. Your relatives and all these people that you know. People didn't find their jobs there. If they found the people when you found their friends, your strong ties, the weak ties, and then you go to the weakest ties, your friends, you get to that area, that's where people found their jobs. The people that they didn't know, the people that are out there that they found through networking, and that's how they found their jobs. And it's still the same way.
Yeah. Well, and in my mind, that's was the power of Scioto Ridge job networking, because you were bringing in people from all walks of life, all denominations, all, different story, same theme, right?
Yeah.
And that was the beautiful thing. But if you stop and think about it mathematically or just graphically, my wife and I know a lot of the same people, right?
Yeah.
She's a wonderful person in many, many ways. She's not going to be a great person to help me find a job, um,
Yeah.
nor am I for her.
Yeah.
But it's the people that she knows and the people they know, and you're kind of borrowing that trust, and it just kind of just continues to daisy chain along. It sounds like the guy who came to you with the spreadsheet. I mean, he kind of had that mastered, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
whose trust can I borrow here, Ken? I just need you to get me in the door, give me a connection to this person.
Yeah. I guess the 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 best way to find a job is the hardest thing to do. Networking doesn't come easy, does it, Frank?
No,
It,
no,
it, it's not intuitive. It's scary. It's to put yourself out there to pick up the phone and call somebody is difficult. And so, but that is the way to find the quickest way to find a job, but it's the hardest thing to do.
yeah,
So right now, the people that are out there out of work that are applying for jobs online, uh, the, uh, the pipe is clogged. AI is a good thing, but AI in job search has been a menace because there are people that are taking resumes and they're doctoring them through AI to match the job uh, uh, perfectly, and then they're sending their resumes in, and they're getting interviewed, but find out that they're not the right candidate.
yeah,
So networking is even more valuable now in job search than it ever has, Frank. It's because the alternative is if you go on LinkedIn, you'll take a look at a job that you want to apply for, and you see there's 1,000 people already applied for it. 1,000 people. Now, how
yeah.
are you going to be? How are you going to be the one of the 10 that are picked? So that's why networking is even more valuable today than it was in the past.
How would you coach somebody to work a network to become one of the 10?
Well,
Or
we
it's probably lots of ways, but what's a way?
Well, one of the ways is that is to get connected with people that have the title that can hire you. So LinkedIn is a professional social network of choice right now where people are finding their jobs. So what I recommend is I go into to LinkedIn and find the title of a person that could hire you. If that's a director of engineering, if it's a director of sales, whatever that is, and do a search of those people in your geography and find out who they are and go to them directly. Find out, open yourself up to them, uh, send them an email, talk to them. Do you need me? And so getting directly to the person rather than going to the job is the preferred method right now. It's a quicker way of finding new employment than to just spray and pray. Is that right?
Yeah,
Spray
spray
and
and pray.
pray.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think a lot of people do that, spraying and praying. I spent 8 hours today loading up resumes and have not heard anything.
It's the easiest thing to do, but there's a diminishing return after the first 3 days, and you've applied to everything that's online,
Yeah,
and you're going, well, what's next? What's next is, well, and a lot of people, there's some people in your network people forget, like talk to your insurance agent, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your accountant. These people know everybody. Talk to your attorney. These people know everybody. Tell them what you're looking for specifically. They have a huge network. So network through that channel also, through your pastor. Those are the professionals in your network that can help you.
well, you mentioned LinkedIn. I mean, back in the day of Scioto Ridge, that was the early days of LinkedIn. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and I will tell people that it's, um, I sound like that old guy. Back in my day, we didn't have that. I mean, you didn't know. Now you can look at it and say, okay, who does Ken know? Okay,
Yeah.
Ken knows the person I want to get to. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now you may or may not know them well, but you know, it's it's one step closer,
Well,
and you could find the titles out there too. Find the people.
yeah. And there were a lot of introductions made through LinkedIn, and that's just fine. There are people who say, "Well, can you recommend me?" Well, I don't know you.
Yeah,
I can't recommend you. I can certainly introduce you. So we found that out, and we found out that people are willing to have a telephone call, but if you ask them to go out for a cup of coffee, that's 3 hours out of their life,
yeah,
and that's difficult to do. So we found the good ways to network and for on both sides that were efficient. And right now, with social media and LinkedIn and Zoom and everything, it's even more efficient than it ever was.
yeah. Well, in efficiency and effectiveness are two entirely different things.
You're
Um,
right.
and
You're right.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I have somebody who's approached me about, hey, here's a way to use AI, and it'll scrape into LinkedIn and connect you to all the right people. And it's like, yeah, that really sounds efficient. But one, I think people could see through that. Um, and I don't need 100 people. I just need to talk to a couple good people that can lead me to other good people. And that's so I don't know. You,
Well, people still hire people, Frank.
yeah,
It's still a person to person. I mean, there is a few factors that are important other than qualifications when you're applying for a job. One is enthusiasm. I mean, I've sent a lot of people into interviews. They're qualified. I wouldn't have sent them in if they weren't qualified. They don't
yeah,
get the job because they don't show the enthusiasm for the job. They don't show the enthusiasm for the company. Why would you hire somebody like that? So
yeah,
they would say, Ken, why didn't I get hired? I says, well, you were totally qualified. Why didn't you get hired? No enthusiasm,
yeah.
no likability. So, yeah, the whole getting getting from no job to getting a job should be easier, but it's not. It should be easier, and nobody's found an easier way to do it than networking.
Well, maybe that is the way. Maybe there is a reason for that.
Yeah,
Relationships are hard. I mean, I've been married 30 plus years. I don't want to ask you. Um, and it's never at no point is it easy, right? I mean, it's not always hard. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
even dealing with my kids, you got kids. It's never
yeah,
easy. There's just challenges to it, and I just think you said it. People hire people, people work with people, and if marital relationships, connecting with your best friend has challenges, then you got to believe that situations where it's not your best friend, you're going to have
yeah,
challenges. So it's,
yeah. Well, it used to be that when you were out of work, I mean, you were like, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
You know, Ken's out of work, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Well, then it got to be Ken's out of work, tell everybody.
Yeah.
Entirely different way of looking at things, and thank goodness for that.
Yes.
That dynamic changed because you were no longer a second-class citizen because you didn't have a job. You were on a journey. That's the other thing too is that during the period where you may not be working, there's a lot of things that people learn. There's a lot of lessons that people learn. There's a lot of skills that people learn. I mean, if they use that time productively,
Yeah.
people come do some marvelous things for other people and for themselves when they're out of work. So it isn't a purgatory. It is a learning period in their lives where they can go from one job to another better and learn things along the way.
Well, I think for a lot of people, what ends up happening is well, they end up in a better place. You said a couple of people got married, right? They met
Yeah.
their soulmate, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
would imagine most people that went through Scioto Ridge or have worked with you with Ability Professional, um, they're not coming back and saying, "Oh, geez, I still miss that old job." It's like, no, they had an opportunity to take a deep breath and discover something entirely different, maybe a
Yeah.
little less money, but
Yeah.
money's not everything.
No, no, it's not. We had and you've been to the meetings. During the meeting, we would have everybody stand up that landed, and then tell them how they did it, and everybody would take notes. And then once a month, we would go out and have a landing party, and we would go out to a local pub, and I'd buy the hors d'oeuvres, and everybody else would buy a beer, and everybody that landed with people that hadn't landed yet, we'd have a big party. And
Yeah,
so it was a celebration too. So those are the things in life that you remember. I went to the landing party. It was a great time. Met a lot of good people, and they're lifelong friends
yeah.
occurred during that time, and some people that I still stay in touch with. So that was a good part of it. Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears. What's next? How can people help you? You have the band. You're still recruiting.
Yeah. So one thing about life is it's not linear. I had the opportunity 2 years ago to play music again. And a bunch of guys in the neighborhood started this band, and my wife knew one of the wives and said, "Hey, Ken used to play bass guitar in high school in a garage band." So she says, "Okay." They came to me and said, "Well, why don't you play bass guitar for us?" I haven't picked up a bass guitar in years and years and years.
Yeah,
Didn't even know I could play it. So I picked it up. I said, "Okay." So we started playing locally in Columbus with some open mics, and come to find out that th th we were good. We have musicians, and it's all classic rock. It's everything we grew up with: Stones, Clapton,
right,
all of those. And so over the past 2 years, we've learned enough music to play 3 hours at a bar, and all of our friends have the privilege of paying cover when they
right.
come in and see us now. So and we've been doing some corporate stuff too. So if you're looking for, and it's called Courtyard Classic Rock Band. We've got a website, courtyard.com. So if you know anybody that needs a band for a party or a Christmas party or something like that, we'd be happy to do that. And if you're in corporate America and your company needs a good salesperson, and your recruiting department may be overloaded and need some outside help, my company's Ability Professional Network, and all we do is play salespeople, and we would be happy to help you.
Sounds great. Appreciate you taking the time. As I told you before we hit record, this is the 900th episode. This relationship's been great, and it just keeps going. We find ourselves on podcasts, this one and other ones. It's awesome.
We'll never lose each other, Frank, no matter how we want to.
Yep.
We'll still be friends forever.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
All right, Frank. Good. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.